This is one of those low microphones. Now I gotta look like I'm serious. Anyway, I gotta get on with it. I only got a couple minutes, and I got a whole lot of shit to say. So just to get a perspective, Willie Nelson wrote his first song in 1940. Come on! I mean, he was 7 years old. That's what I'm gonna get quick. Patsy Cline recorded the classic Crazy, released in 1961. And Willie made 72 albums since his first. And he's an author. He just published a new book called Energy Follows Thought about his songs and writing them. He's been a movie star. He plays golf. I was standing with Willie, or by Willie, at a concert celebrating his 85th birthday. He's 90 now. Some local TV station asked him when he was going to retire, and he said, "Well, I play golf and I play music. Which one do you want me to give up?" He also loves poker, and he recorded the Outlaws album with his poker buddy, Waylon Jennings. And it was the first, I'm trying to get it all in so I'm shouting over you. It was the first country album ever to sell more than 1 million copies. Then he had another group with Waylon that was called the Highwaymen, and that also had Johnny Cash and Chris Christopherson in it, which is that's a wrecking crew. You don't want to get stuck in the bar with that band. Lord. Anyway, what else I got? Oh, you know what? I don't know if you know this. Willie likes to smoke weed. According to several, or at least a couple of good sources, one time Willie smoked in the White House. And in his autobiography, he said it was with someone that worked there, but Jimmy Carter, who was president at the time, said that it was with Jimmy's son, which is, so I like to think that if Jimmy Carter had been elected for a second term, that weed would have been legal in the mid-'80s. Maybe we wouldn't have exported all of our manufacturing jobs if they had a second term. And maybe all the farm subsidies and tax breaks that were afforded small family farms and small farmers in this country would not have been stolen by corporate and factory farm industries. So it goes. But farm foreclosures skyrocketed, and so did farmer suicide. And then Willie Nelson heard the voices of desperation, and he called John Mellencamp and Neil Young, and they did the first Farm Aid with a bunch of great artists. Willie has done Farm Aid every year since. Greed doesn't rest, so neither for now does Willie Nelson. The first time that I was at Farm Aid, we came off stage. That's the first time I met Willie. We came off stage and we went on his bus, and after I set, and I got so high that I thought I might forget to breathe, and then we got more high, and then we continued to get high until finally Willie said, "Is everybody high?" My mom still has a photograph of me and the band so high on Willie's bus with Willie up on her. She's very proud of me. But there was also, it was around the same time that Willie had an issue with the IRS. He owed some back taxes. You should look on Wikipedia for how much, because I don't want to say it out loud, because it's an embarrassingly large amount. Anyway, So he ended up, he did a couple of Taco Bell commercials to pay the bill, and he did a Pizza Hut commercial with Waylon Jennings, and I figured that's okay, because then you're just taking the taxes from the corporation and you're giving them to the government. That's what we should be doing anyway. But then Bill Hicks, the late comedian, said, I missed him too, said, you do a commercial and you're off the artistic roll call forever. And that goes for everyone, except Willie Nelson. Willie believes in doing right as he sees it. Everything just takes care of itself, he said. If everyone just takes care of themselves, then we don't have any problems. One time before Farm Aid, before the press conference, Willie and me, I'm sorry if I'm nervous, this is really nervous, I'm really nervous. So my apologies. One time before Farm Aid, not that, it was maybe a decade and a half ago, me and Willie and Neil Young and John Mellencamp were on the side stage, and we were catching up a little bit. And while they were catching up, I was thinking, what the fuck am I doing here? And I don't know what we're talking about, but Willie said, I didn't think I was going to write any more songs, but then I wrote a couple. And one of the ones he wrote was, Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die. And then he recorded that with Snoop Dogg. And Snoop said that Willie was the only time, with Willie was the only time that he ever, when smoking with Willie, was the only time he ever had to say, I can't smoke anymore. That's a joke. In conclusion, the world seems upside down, where people are living in the streets hoping that they will survive the winter in the richest country in the world, and where people working full-time for huge profitable corporations still have to get food stamps. And we have billionaires who, while competing for who can get their little rockets a tiny ways into space, don't think they should pay taxes. While we rain bombs down on children and call it collateral damage or self-defense, it's enough for you to give up on the world. But it's people like Willie Nelson that make me hopeful for us all. Through his words and through his music and through the example he sets, people feel a connection to Willie Nelson. Willie is an example of how the world could be if we could just straighten up and fly right.